Namo Narayanaya. We are basically in the polygamy part of the Kama Sutra, and we are finishing up with this video the chapter with the title on the conduct of the elder wife towards the other wives of her husband, and on that of a younger wife towards the elder ones, also on the conduct of a virgin widow remarried, of a wife disliked for her husband, of the woman in the king's harem, and lastly on the conduct of a husband towards many wives. A woman who is disliked by her husband and annoyed and distressed by his other wives should associate with the wife who is liked most by her husband, and who serves him more than the others, and should teach her all the arts with which she is acquainted. She should act as the nurse to her husband's children, and having gained over his friends to her aid, should through them make him acquainted of her devotion to him. In religious ceremonies she should be a leader, as also in vows and fasts, and should not hold too good an opinion of herself. When her husband is lying on his bed, she should only go near him when it is agreeable to him, and should never rebuke him or show obstinacy in any way. If her husband happens to quarrel with any of his other wives, she should reconcile them to each other, and if he desires to see any woman secretly, she should manage to bring about the meeting between them. She should, moreover, make herself acquainted with the weak points of her husband's character, but always keep them secret, and on the whole behave herself in such a way as may lead him to look upon her as a good and devoted wife. Here ends the conduct of a wife disliked by her husband. The above sections will show how all the women of a king's seraglio are to behave, and therefore we shall now speak separately only about the king. The female attendants in the harem should bring flowers, ointments, and clothes from the king's wives to the king, and having received these things should give them as presents to the servants along with the things worn by him the previous day. In the afternoon the king, having dressed and put on his ornaments, should interview the women of the harem, who should also be dressed and decorated with jewels. Then, having given to each of them such a place and such respect as may suit the occasion, and as they may deserve, he should carry on with them a cheerful conversation. After that, he should see such of his wives as may be virgin widows remarried, and after then the concubines and dancing girls. All of these should be visited in their private rooms. When the king rises from his noonday sleep, the women whose duty it is to inform the king regarding the wife who is to spend the night with him should come to him accompanied by the female attendants of that wife whose turn may have arrived in the regular course, and of her who may have been accidentally passed over as her turn arrived, and of her who may have been unwell at the time of her turn. These attendants should place before the king the ointments and unguents sent by each of these wives, marked with the seal of her ring, and their names and their reasons for sending the ointments should be told to the king. After this, the king accepts the ointment of one of them, who is then informed that her ointment has been accepted, and that her day has been settled. At festivals, singing parties, and exhibitions, all the wives of the king should be treated with respect and served with drinks. But the women of the harem should not be allowed to go out alone. Neither should any woman outside the harem be allowed to enter it except those whose character is well known. And lastly, the work which the king's wives have to do should not be too fatiguing. Thus ends the conduct of the king towards the women of the harem and their own conduct. A man marrying many wives should act fairly towards them all. He should neither disregard nor pass over their faults, and should not reveal to one wife the love, passion, bodily blemishes, and confidential reproaches of the other. No opportunity should be given to any one of them of speaking to him about their rivals, and if one of them should begin to speak ill of another, he should chide her and tell her that she has exactly the same blemishes in her character. One of them he should please by secret confidence, another by secret respect, and another by secret flattery, and he should please them all by going to gardens, by amusements, by presents, by honoring their relations, by telling them secrets, and lastly by loving unions. A young woman who has good temper, and who conducts herself according to the precepts of the Holy Writ, wins her husband's attachments, and attains a superiority over her rivals. Thus ends the conduct of husbands towards many wives, and this chapter and this part of the Kama Sutra.